of what the former, okay, before I go on this speech, I want to welcome Mambo Soswe, being our leadership in this program, being our leadership in Change Radio. He is going to be highlighting some of the issues that Change Radio has gone through, that some of the, and also some of the issues that we experienced in Zimbabwe, and as far as the civil society, and as far as the labor movement, and as far as student activism in Zimbabwe took place from 1980 up to date. Chief Soswe, I hand over the mic to you. Thank you. Chief Soswe, are you able to unmute for you to speak? Okay. We, in the meantime, and I want to acknowledge the coming in of Honorable Gladys Hlachwayo here with us, and she is going to be one of our speakers here. But I just want our listeners to listen to what Dr. Peter Mutasa once said in one of his speeches when he was highlighting some of the issues that Zimbabwean workers, ordinary Zimbabweans, are facing in the deteriorating social and economic issues in Zimbabwe are concerned. Let us listen to Mutasa vachitaura some moments ago. Let's listen to him.
It is a failed state that is also lost legitimacy. We can argue academically and use all the intellectual ways that we have, but you will see that Zimbabwean state is a failed state when you fall ill and you go to Barreniatwa, Ilo, Sakum, Mutare or General Hospital and you fail to get attention or even a painkiller. You will realize that Zimbabwe is a failed state when you send your kids to schools on 15th and 22nd this month and there are no teachers at school because teachers are incapacitated. So from a working class perspective, nothing is working in this country. Zimbabwe is a failed state that has failed to provide security of persons. In fact, the government is still the rogue and it is operating like a militia, abducting citizens, brutalizing citizens. Some are sexual harassed, lawful detention and pre-trial detentions. So this points to a state that has failed to discharge its major obligation of providing security to citizens. We also have a failed state in the form of a state that is failing to provide public services. There's nothing that is working in this country. Yesterday I was reading about a sad story of a nurse who has gone on GoFundMe processes to seek money for her to get MRI scan. Someone who is working for the health services cannot afford MRI scan. The working class, majority of them are earning $25. That's 25 loaves of bread a month. The domestic workers are earning $9. That is 9 loaves of bread for the whole month. To book an ambulance if you are COVID positive or is.
And this was Peter Mutasa speaking about the plight of Zimbabwean workers, speaking about the plight of ordinary Zimbabweans, and speaking about the need for the government to take seriously about the issues to do with service delivery in Zimbabwe. And this stretches from 1980 to present. Some people might say that, yes, we got independence in 1980, but nothing substantive has been done by the government to uplift the livelihood of Zimbabweans. And this is what we are going to be speaking about today. I don't want to waste so much of our time, but to give our distinguished speakers here a moment to highlight some of these issues. But before giving our main speakers here, I just want to hear from Mambo Soswe. He was having some technical issues, after which we also hear from Dr. Ranga, who has also joined us. Mambo Soswe, are you able to speak now?
Yes, thank you very much. Network, I don't know what's going on, but let me take some time to welcome everyone. Welcome our distinguished guests, our speakers. I can see Honorable Gladys Hlachwayo. I can also see Comrade Babs, Champion Barbara, and we are still waiting for Comrade Mutasa. We are expecting Mr. Mukwananzi to join us, representing the students. as you are seeing from the topic, it's a topic that is wide-ranging, that is covering students, labor, civic society, and as you know, these are the main stakeholders in our struggle. And we are just trying to explore here what happened then in 1980 to date, what worked, what didn't work. And of course, we'll remember that we are discussing this in the face of an onslaught or something that is going to be an onslaught on our constitution by ZANU-PF. So we'll be discussing all that in the light of the contribution that civic society, labor, and student movements have made over the years. But of course, like Comrade Denford said, Change Radio is celebrating its 50th anniversary. May is the month that we started broadcasting, and we have been here. Change Radio has been here for the past 5 years. We want to take the opportunity to thank everyone, to thank you, our valued viewers and listeners. We are here because of you, as we are always radio station, a truly citizens radio station, and we continue to speak for the people, give people the platform to speak, and also give alternative views to what the state media continues to give. We have over 75 volunteers across the world, and I also want to take this opportunity to thank them. It's not an easy task to run a radio station, online, and you have meetings virtually. People sit down every morning to bring you news, the news that we produce every day in 5 languages. Someone is writing in Zimbabwe, of course, because we do have journalists in Zimbabwe, but the other person who is going to take that audio will be in German, and someone who is editing is in Switzerland, and someone who is going to post the news on our platforms is in South Africa or in Zambia. So it's not an easy task, but I want to thank all these volunteers because all of them are volunteering. So we want to thank you. I know some of them are here volunteering right now. Let's keep doing what we are doing. As you have seen, we have brought in Nkoma Denford. Nkoma Denford has been running spaces for the past 3 years outside Change Radio. But we say Change Radio is a people's radio station, which means anyone here, if you want to run a program, you can just come to Change Radio and we will give you space to do that. And lastly, of course, you'll be coming to a platform that is already established right here, right now. We are on on X, where we are. We have over 65,000 followers, and on YouTube, we have almost the same number. On Facebook, we have 55,000 followers, and on WhatsApp, yes, we just overtook our principal, President Nelson Chamisa. We are now on 80,000 followers on our WhatsApp channel. But of course, we are not competing because President Chamisa and Change Radio are just one and the same. And we also have a huge followership on TikTok, where we have over 130,000 on our channel. So right now, as we are broadcasting, as we are speaking here, there are people that are on YouTube. We welcome you. Those that are on TikTok, those that are on Facebook, and those that will be getting information on our WhatsApp channels. Thank you so much for the support. Right now, I think I can say let's sit back, relax, and listen to our valued speakers. I'm seeing Mr. Trust Ndlovu is also with us here. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Back to you, my brother Denford.
Tinoda kutenda Chief Soswe your presence here, and tinoda kuramba tichienderera mberi tichiti Change Radio inotaura malanguages mitauro yakasiyana. Tinotaura neChishona, tinotaura nechirungu, tinotaura nechindevere, tinotaura nechindau. Languages ese ari muZimbabwe, you hear our news being aired. And this is in order to bring about diversity within our country. We know, like Chief Soswe has rightly said, that there are some people from within our societies who cannot access Twitter or X. And some, we have actually deliberately made sure that there is diversity in as far as the source of our Change Radio news. So that's why we will be having a followership within WhatsApp, because kana ukaenda kuBoera, ukaenda kwaMurambinda, ukaenda kuZvishavane, you will find everybody is on their phone vachiterera messages anenge achibva pa WhatsApp, and this is very important. It makes our news to be ahead by almost everybody within it. To really thank you. Before going to our first speaker, the first invited speaker that we have here, I just want to quickly go to Dr. Ranga, who has got something that he would want to share with our listeners, both here on this platform as well as other platforms that Chief Soswe has highlighted. Dr. Ranga, how are you today?
Hi, my brother Danford. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you? And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Ranga.
Oh, thank you so much. So anyway, first point of order, since we have a parliamentarian here, chingozanganisa chishona nechirungu ndo inonzi Shonglish or Shona English. Saka I think it's good for business. But anyway, I'm excited to be here, and thank you, Brother Danford, for hosting this space, and Change Radio for hosting the space, and for all those other platforms where Zimbabweans can listen and learn what's going on in our country. And Honorable Hlashwayo, it's great to see you again here on Change Radio. We look forward to seeing you more. My sister Barbara, we are delighted to have you here as a panelist. I have lots of stuff to say, like I always tell anybody who cares to listen, especially my brother Danford. But in terms of today, I'm just excited that Zimbabweans are gathered here today on Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there. And I'm glad that we're talking about a topic that should relate with every Zimbabwean. You know, I went to medical school in Zimbabwe at the University of Zimbabwe. So one language which they used was geology, things like that. But I remember my time at the university for vibrant protests, a lot of activism. That's where it happened. And when I see university lecturers now going on strike, I'm like, why did it take them, at least when I'm very old now, I won't tell anybody my age, but why did it take them more than 20 years to learn from the students? They finally figured that sometimes when things are not working, you need to speak up, and they are speaking up as lecturers. And I understand that this might be something that might end up happening across the country. I'm just saying I'm excited as a graduate of the University of Zimbabwe. I'm just delighted to be here, and I look forward to a great conversation. And like everybody has said, Change Radio is available on multiple platforms, and we are celebrating our 5th anniversary this May. Kudos to all the volunteers who have continued to do the great work so that Change Radio provides a voice to the voiceless. As you know, I'm not shy to say this, ZANU-PF fears social media. And Change Radio would not be in business were it not for social media. So I encourage everyone to share this space so that we will have a lively discussion today, and we can learn more about what's going on in the labor, civil, and student movements in Zimbabwe. Thank you, my brother. Then for the handover back to you.
Much appreciated, Dr. Ranga, and I know Murikubasa and Mukubasa one try, but we always want you to remain on our platform so that whenever we would want advice, especially to do with a number of things that we need here, we can always relate to you. But before going to our honorable here, Gladys Hlashwayo, I just wanted to quickly highlight some of the issues that we have noticed in the far past, near past, present, and with some of the issues that are likely going to be happening in Zimbabwe, especially to do with the our civil society in Zimbabwe, especially to do with our labor activism in Zimbabwe, especially also to do with our student movement in Zimbabwe. We have recently realized that there's been a drastic shift from the activism that we used to have during the times of the late Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai, during the time of the late Dr. Sibanda, during the time of different members of civil society, labor, and student movements, the likes of the late Alain Mojongwe. A lot of things used to happen, and people will start to ask the questions to say, but why are we, what has happened to our student movement? What has happened to our to our civil society? What has happened to our labor movement? Now, if you talk about ZCTU today, sometimes you will be talking of taboo, things that people might not really understand. But sometime before, when you spoke about the ZCTU, then someone will simply talk about it. Tsvangirai, then someone will speak about Peter Mutasa. Now we are not hearing anything of that sort. So we would want to hear from those who were there during the time when those movements were in hot. And that is the reason why we've invited our guests. Some will come on the way, but with those who are there, I can recollect issues to do with the brutal attacks to the likes of Justina Mukoko for the Zimbabwe Peace Project. I can also relate issues to do with the Vanwakatasana Rashid, was it Rashid Mkundu, if I'm not mistaken, from the Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe. I can also relate issues to do with the Ivana Grace Quinche, and so on and so on. Those people fought for the civil society for it to be. But now we have got issues that we need to speak about. Without wasting time, I just want to quickly bring about, welcome here Honorable Gladys Kachwayo, who is going to be filling two shoes, one for the civil society, secondly, also for a political establishment within our country. I hand over the mic to you and speak to us through what you know, which happened during the times when student activism used to be so hectic, and now that we seem to be having something that is lukewarm as far as activism is concerned. Go ahead, leadership.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but if you are able to speak a bit up or get closer to your mic, that would be so helpful to the people who are listening.
Is it better? Is it better now?
Yes, I can hear you, and I'm sure some other people can also hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Mkoma Denford, and thank you so much for inviting me to the space. I appreciate, you wanting to solicit views on this very important topic from me. Firstly, let me say Happy Mother's Day to all mothers that are on the platform. Mothers are so important to us because they also bear the brunt of the governance crisis that we have in Zimbabwe. If you talk of the collapse of the social services, health, unpaid care work, rising extreme poverty, and all of those issues that we are facing, you find that, women and mothers do face, immense pressure and do bear the brunt of this governance crisis. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. The topic, power and protest, the impact of labor, civil society, and students' movement in Zimbabwe, 1980 to present. This is a very important topic because protest is very central to human development. Even our own constitution does provide in section 59 the right to, demonstrate and petition, the right to protest. I also want to prefix my, thoughts on this topic by quoting two women, because it's Mother's Day. I just looked for two women who speak, about the issues that we want to discuss today. So the first one is Indira Gandhi. I'm sure we all know her. She was a prime minister in India She says the power to question is the basis of all human progress. Again, emphasizing the centrality of protest in human development. The second person that I want to quote, as a prefix to my presentation is Margaret Thatcher, another prime minister again from the United Kingdom. She says, power is not given to you, it is taken. So it is very important as we talk about, the situation that we find ourselves in as Zimbabweans, that, power is not something that is going to be given to us as the oppressed, but it's something that we really have to demand. And one way of demanding that is through protest. So we have had various struggles that we've had in Zimbabwe, the struggle against white colonial rule. We have had the struggle for gender equality, the struggle against neoliberal policies. If you still remember in the late 90s, at some point we had a very big campaign known as the Save Zimbabwe campaign. We had a struggle for a new constitution. And what are some of the lessons? I would really want to go through some of the lessons that we have learned, so that as we talk about our present realities and how we need to, salvage the situation as it were, we can also rely on the lessons from, previous struggles, and how, the labor, civil society, political organizations have been responding to some of these challenges. The first lesson learned, from past protests is the centrality of citizen agency. So nothing strengthens the status quo than silence. When we are silent as citizens, that strengthens, be it the authoritarian, system that will be in place, because we will not be expressing ourselves and expressing our citizen agents. So citizen agents is very important. There is need for rights holders to stand up, for themselves, and to demand what is rightfully ours. So we are talking about, a health system that is not working. We are talking about, a dead economy. We are, everything is in comatose. It's not working. And as citizens, as long as we remain silent and we do not stand up, for ourselves, nothing is going to change. So the centrality of citizen agents is one of the things that we learned from past, protests and past campaigns that we have had as Zimbabwe. And I should also say that there's need to marry online activism and offline activism. My observation at the moment is that sometimes, when we tweet, if I make a tweet to say this is what is happening or my opinion on a certain issue, we actually think that we have done activism. What I'm saying here is that we need to marry our online activism and offline activism. If we fail to go on in the communities and actually do the real work and organizing, we are doing ourselves a disservice, and that will not result in the results that we will be looking for. So we need to marry online activism and offline activism. So again, it's the issue around centrality of citizen agents. So that's the first lesson. The second lesson is also around unity of the oppressed. It's important, when you are facing authoritarian consolidation, like we are facing in Zimbabwe at the moment, for the oppressed people to come together, to fight together against, the oppressive system. I still remember when I was working in civil society, when I was working for Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, which was the organization that was to pressure around electoral reforms, leading to, the inclusive government that NCA, National Constitutional Assembly, if you still remember, came together with of governance, and illegitimacy that Zimbabwe was facing. And it was really a successful campaign. Like I said, it actually led to electoral reforms. If you still remember the prayer rally that was supposed to happen in Highfields in 2007, in March of on the 11th of March to be precise, 2007. That then led to people being imprisoned, including Dr. Richard Tsvangirai and other activists, and it then led to an international outcry, leading to a joint summit of the African Union and the Southern African Development Community, and then pushing for reforms as well as pushing for the global political agreement that then gave rise to the inclusive government. So the lesson that we learn, or that we learned through that campaign, is that unity of genuine democratic forces is very important to defeat an authoritarian regime. So that is the second lesson. The third lesson is that a clear framing of the national question is needed. At any given point, there is a national question that democratic forces need to, clearly frame in a way that resonates with the masses. At the present moment, we are talking about, an illegal extension, of a term that Mr. Mnangagwa is trying to push. That can be, something that we can consider in terms of the national question of the day. And it's important for all progressive forces to then coalesce around that national, question, and to push, for changes it way. So that is the third lesson: a clear framing of the national question in a way that resonates with the masses. The fourth lesson that I can speak to is also the presence of strong institutions. If we look at the time paibuda vana Arthur Mutambara vachiita activism, I still remember, I'm a former student leader, by the way. When I got to University of Zimbabwe, these were the names that we were told kuti muchiita activism ndo gwara reactivism, vana Arthur Mutambara, vana Job Sikala, vana Jongwe, vana Lenmo Jongwe. The reason why they were also able to do what they were able to do, what they did during that time was because vanga vane strong institutions. ZINASU, ZCTU, under the leadership of the then Secretary General of the ZCTU, Dr. Richard Tsvangirai, vana NCA, the MDC of that time, and so that is the lesson that we also need to learn, that we need strong institutions, and these then become the basis, or rather the engines that then propel the struggle forward. Kana tisina institutions, is very difficult for us to be organized. The next lesson is on a centrality of the common good over self-interest. The issue of being selfless and selfless. It is my observation that the conversations that we used to have then, back then, in terms of propelling, the struggle, of the masses, there was a lot of, people were well-meaning, if you know what I mean. And there was a lot of, the need to have a better Zimbabwe. People really believed that it's important for us to have a better Zimbabwe. Not kuti no, inini kana ndazopinda mubetter Zimbabwe ndozoda chigaro chakadai ndozoda kudai. It was not about that. People were not self-interested. People were selfless. So that selflessness, that striving for a common good, is something that we also need to dock into, to make sure that our struggles at the present moment do get what it means is that it's giving support to some the final lesson that I can also speak to relates to a formalized economy. And, back then there was a formalized economy, and therefore there was a large labor base. Difficult because obviously of the changed and so it becomes difficult to organize. But can we find ways that also cater, for those that are in the informal economy? But there's also massive infiltration, co-optation, that is also happening. That's one of the things that the regime is invested in. Infiltration, co-optation of comrades. Forces. To watch. So those are some of the challenges that are limiting the Save Zimbabwe campaign. And also heavy-handedness on the part of police. When they are dealing with protests, I'm sure we all remember August 1 and what happened, how their capacity yekuita mobilize. So these are the challenges that present day as much as possible, and we need to clearly
go to parliament. Because the environment was was not conducive. So the people, they were brave, because most people did not want to go into parliament. Unlike what we are seeing now, where everyone wants to go into parliament, not that because they want status, they want to it's a way of employment. It was not conducive. So Zimbabwe wants to go to the council. So narratives, they will post things, they will say the roads are being developed, they will say Zimbabwe zvinhu zvakanaka, and most people, they believe kuti Zimbabwe zvinhu zvakanaka, maroads ari kugadzirwa. But it's us people, tinofanira kuti, like government ikati kungai road iri kugadzirwa, we should be having people in Kai that are my warriors, media are warriors in Kai, media warriors in Cholocho, everywhere, every point. We should be having our people, give them data so that when they post something about even Zumba, we have people who then go and say no, this is a lie. Road ya na ugadziro, ona izvaikaitwa, kutoitwa mavideo, toamwaya social media. That's another war that we should fight. Even look at the celebrities. ZANU-PF, vakaona kuti vanhu vari kuswera pa social media, vanhu vari kuswera pa Facebook, pa TikTok, pa Telegram, vari kuswera ku Instagram. What do? Those influencers, vanoteerwa nevanhu, ndo vabatwa manje neregime. Vari kupiwa mota, we can see that. Vari kutengerwa mota, vari kupiwa mari, and yet my hospitals haana chino. There's no medication in hospital. So isusu, we should be up in arms with those people. Vamwe ma singers, vamwe ma TikTokers, vamwe we know they are so influential, gospel singers, the likes of Wana Charamba, who even saying kuti, vachiimba kuti kombererai vana vangu, handidi kuti vapone nezvipo zvekuroya zveumbavha, handidi kuti vasimukire nekutsika vamwe. But that's exactly now what they are doing. Ivo Wana Charamba, they are now vakupona nezvipo zveumbavha zvana wiki neuchivhai. So what should we do, Isus? We boycott their music, boycott their shows, boycott everything, and attack them on social media. When they post something, let's attack them.
Sorry, Champion Barbara. I just wanted to ask Mukoma, Chief so to say, I've had issues with the Comrade Peter Gift Mutasa has been requesting, I've been trying to bring him up, but I think his network is a problem. While Champion Barbara is presenting, is it possible that you can make a call to him so that because I can see it's difficult for him to make his presentation through X. If it is possible that you can make a call and then he can come through your account, if it is possible, Mambo Soswe.
No, noted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You can go ahead, Champion Barbara, and then I can also say that Ndaraji, I see you are there. I'm not disregarding you. You are going to be speaking. What we were doing was to first give opportunities to our guest speakers, and then I will come to you
Daraji, I can see you being with us. Go ahead, Champion Barbara.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I was talking about the social media influence. The socialites. Kwatinopedza nguva tichiona ZANU-PF have taken advantage. They've recruited those people. They are like on their side. Look at Vana Holy 10. Inandichateereri nziyo dzana Holy 10 guys, handiendi kushow ya Holy 10. I don't listen to Japreza anymore. I don't go to Japreza's show. Ndoswera ndichiteerera Winky D because he stands with the people. This is the message that you should spread. Ukaona uri mustrago uchinakidzwa nenziyo dzemunhu ari kudya nemhandu, ari kudya nemunhu ari kutidzvinyirira, then guys asati tatanga struggle. Hatisati. Handisi kuda kuita presentation I didn't write anyway. It's coming from my head, guys, because ndonzwa kurwadziwa nekuti tiri kuendepi as a country, tiri kuendepi isusu as vari mustruggle. Where are we going? Where are we heading to? We should be having everywhere. We should be having these conversations. Is it when Hadzokera Zimbabwe people are suffering? What I know is the influencers, the musicians, the clergy, they should stand with the oppressed. Just like Zvaita Thomas Mapfumo. Before independence, Thomas Mapfumo used to sing in the liberation struggle, Achi rejuvenate the struggle. He was oiling the struggle through music. In the music, Chimurenga music. But what I like about Thomas Mapfumo, after independence, paakaona vanhu vakutanga kurasika, hana kunyarara. He even told them, no, this is Andrew Zatakaindera Kuhondo ish, Lamakuita. He started singing against the system. So this is.
And can I quickly come back to you, Chief? Champion Barbara, that we have managed to get connected with the comrade Peter Gift Mutaza. Would you, if you don't mind, let him speak because he's got an erratic connectivity issue? I don't know if it's okay with you.
No, I don't mind. I would have even loved him to speak before me. I don't mind, to be honest. It's okay. And I think I've spoken a lot. Maybe I will then come Kanahama interactions. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I want to give this opportunity to Mambo Soswe, introduce to us our main speaker who we wanted to speak highly, especially to do with the topics that we have here. We are in May, and this is our important month, especially for Zimbabwean workers. And we have seen that a lot of our workers have been displaced from their workplaces, not only because they wanted to move away from work, but because of what has happened to our economy, because of what the regime has prioritized. And I've been reading about the history of Vamtasa and as far as Basarao is concerned. Tikaona kuti the election that took place, well, I know he's not going to be speaking about that, but my analysis and my understanding about him losing the last conference where he was supposed to be winning was because ZANU-PF had its hand in it. And can I give this opportunity to Mambo Soswe to introduce him to us so that he can give us his perspective in as far as what is happening in as far as the labor movement is concerned. Also, if he can, because I understand he is also part of Crisis Coalition in Zimbabwe, he can also broadly speak about the civil society in Zimbabwe. Mambo Soswe, to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Danford. Very quickly, because I know his network is having problems. I'm introducing a brother, a fellow comrade, someone who is synonymous with the ZCTU as its former president, And when he left the ZCTU, I think the ZCTU also left us, or rather, the ZCTU died. Because right now, like what Barbara was saying, we are seeing and hearing that some of its leaders are getting nice, beautiful cars from ZANU-PF, and that spells the death of a once very vibrant organization, an organization that we all identify with because we all came from ZCTU, if we are talking about the MDC. And that institutional memory is the one that we want to hear and get from our esteemed speaker, Mr. Peter Gift Mutasa. Please, like Denford said, you are now chairperson for Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, but we want to hear about the history of labor to the day where we are today, and see if there are any lessons that we can learn, lessons that we can use to push ourselves further in our fight for democracy in Zimbabwe. Obviously, we need to do something. There is something that has gone wrong somewhere. And if we can find a way of reconnecting and realigning ourselves to what you guys used to do, the demonstrations that you used to have, one of the last activities that you had as the ZCTU president was the stairway. It was successful. But today, when we speak here, we say stairways don't work in Zimbabwe. Of course, there are economic issues, like what Honorable Lady Shathwayo was saying, but they used to be successful. Can we still go back there? We give you the time, Mr. Peter Gift Mutasa. Over to you.
I think Ramtasa has got problems with his network. I'll try to bring him up as requested again, but that's why I suggested that Chief Shoshe, you might have his mobile number. If you can call him, really want him to. I would really wanted to hear from him because he has got a mouthful of what we wanted to hear. I'm trying to bring him up. I've got challenges with that, and at the moment, maybe when Champion Barbara is finishing up his submission, you can try to pick him up on his phone. And to Honorable Lady Shathwayo, and thank you very much for still keeping on with us. I'm going to be having 2 or so questions with you, and Daraji, I still have with you. So, Champion Barbara, while we are waiting for Mambo Shoshe to connect with the Comrade Gift Mutasa, you can finish your submission, and then the moment he comes, you can go ahead. We can let him go ahead.
Okay, maybe let me finish with touching on the labor movement. To say, I think the labor, they are, as of now, they are not united. The labor movement on its own is not united. If you recall well, after when during the Congress, was it 2021 Congress, I think there were only 8 unions that participated out of maybe supposedly 33 unions. So where were all the other unions? They were in bed standing. So if you are in bed standing, you don't attend a Congress. And most of the unions that were in bed standing are the unions that are progressive. The unions that were in good standing are the unions that were, the fairly new unions that came into play from, like, most of them were parastatal unions, that, is being sponsored by parastatals. It's their government companies, and obviously these unions, the government will be having a hand in those unions. So all those old unions that we know could not attend the Congress because they were in bed standing. So if
Barbara,
yeah,
Comrade Barbara, can I disturb you again? We now We are now with Comrade Peter Mtasa on the other phone, and his network is giving issues.
It's okay.
Hopefully, you'll be able to speak from here.
It's okay.
All right. So, Mr. My brother Peter Mtasa, we had already introduced you, so we are not going to waste time. We'll get right into it. And to everyone who is here, please, when he starts speaking, just give us a thumbs up so that we know you can hear him. Please go ahead, Mr. Mtasa.
Hi, Chief. How are you?
We are sorry.
I'm having some challenges with some of the discussions, especially what my sister Gladys spoke about, but I didn't hear everything. But I'm very much indebted to the background that she has given. And I also align myself with what she has said, what Comrade Barbara was saying just before I got cut off. I'm not sure whether they heard me on this line.
If you can hear Mr. Mtasa, please just do a thumbs up or put a 100.
Hi, Chief.
Yes, they can hear you. They just confirmed. Everyone is hearing you. Yes. You can go ahead.
I just want to point out a few things so that I don't waste the time. The first thing is that everything has changed. So in terms of our past glory or past struggles and past victories, and there are many. From a trade union perspective, we can start from the 1981, 82, massive strikes, more than 400 strikes in a year. Those are things that we always cherish. We can also look at the way the ZCTU managed to wiggle itself out of the paternalistic relationship with the state, especially around 85 going forward. So we have many victories that we have. Sports labor, but it was labor, it was students, it was also the faith-based organization, the churches. It was also community-based organizations and the many civil society organizations that we managed to come up together. You can talk of our NCA, you can talk of the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, and many other organizations, women's movement, youth movements. So it has been a very tortuous journey, but a collective journey that we can all look back and cherish. But what I just want to point out before I get cut off is that things have changed. The environment has completely changed. I'm not saying that we cannot replicate what we used to do, because I believe that we can still do it. And I base that view based on the past prior to independence environment. What we are witnessing today is not very, very different from what we had during before independence. The level of state brutality, the level of state authoritarianism, and also the militarization of the state. Are facing, whether they are working or they are not working, is almost similar to what we had before independence. I'm saying this because there's a general that we always confront that things have changed, so we can no longer resist. But if you look at it from a local perspective, many people point out to the informalization, which is a correct point to note, that the economy has been informalized. So we no longer have those circles of organizing or mobilized workers who are properly educated, which used to be the factories, which used to be the other workplaces, parastatals, factories, and many other, including agriculture. The 2000 land reform or fast track land reform decimated a lot of our organized power in farms, with more than 420 workers, 20,000 workers who lost employment and who then became modern day slaves under the new farm owners, majority of them linked to the ruling regime or elites. Some of them military guys who do not even allow unions to come and organize in their farms. Some of them police commissioners, and some of them senior public service government officials, ministers. So a lot of decimation has happened. But I always point out to the 1940s and 1950s up to 1960s, the glorious moment for the labor movement and civil resistance in this country, in my view, which our forefathers, forebearers, Joshua Nkomo, Gadali, and many others, Benjamin Burombo. Without many workers, by that time, many people were not allowed in the cities. It was very few men. Women were not even allowed. With very few people, they managed to stage massive strikes in the 1948. They had no telecoms like we are doing. They had no Twitter Spaces. They had no WhatsApp. I think it was just by skills. You had to move around to organize and to mobilize. They were not allowed to use the telephones, organizing, using what they had at their disposal in the hostels, using what they had, their connections in the workplace. But they managed to close this country in 1948, railway strike, which started in Bulawayo and then spread all over the country. And they put this country to its knees. And not just that, that inspired them to then form the nationalist parties. And that's why the ZAPU, ZANU were funded by trade unionists back then. So I always point out to this point that yes, we have challenges, but it can still be done. If you look at how that inspired even post-independence, the 1996 public sector strike, which then is at CTU and Morgan and Gibson's Banda jumped into, and then he organized until we had the 1997-1998 massive stayaways.
Hello, Chief. Can you hear me?
We know.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Mtas.
Am I still there?
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to point out everyone is impoverished. What the regime has managed to do is to create a crisis, an economic crisis. Initially, I don't think they thought they can use it to its advantage, but then they realized that once everyone is poor, once everyone is living from head to mouth, it can be an advantage to them. So I don't think they've got any appetite to address the economic challenges because it's working to their advantages. So anyone who is on the ground, who is trying to organize, will face this challenge that everyone you want to organize, they cannot even afford bus fare to come to a particular place where there's a protest, whether it's a stay away, they cannot even afford to go 2-3 days without getting into the city to scrape for something to eat. So the poverty, levels of poverty that we have currently is working to the regime's advantage. But it can also be turned and work to our advantage, but that means massive political education, which is what we are lacking at the moment. Then in the 90s, with the pro-democracy movement, there were so many organizations that were working together, even in their different spheres, but also making sure that they are spreading massive political education. Even someone who could not afford a newspaper, could attend a labor forum for information from economists, from labor economists, from the University of Zimbabwe, lecturers that we used to work with, region and others who used to support trade unions and civil society. So currently we don't have that. We've got a very low levels of ideological education. That is why you see people rushing to the leaders. That is why you see people rushing and supporting even those who are working at within the decisions that are compromised. You cannot blame everyone. Some have not had any political education like we had from our seniors during those glorious moments. So that's the first thing. It's no longer possible for us in hope that so threatened. There's high unemployment out there. If you strike, if you leave the workplace, someone is ready to come in. It's not just that. Most of the companies that we now have been taken over by the ruling elites. So this economy is now in the hands of a very few people. Few connected people, whether it's banks, they've taken over banks, they've taken over insurance, they've taken over mines, they've taken over public sector parastatals that used to be parastatals. They are privatizing. They are not privatizing in the process, they're just taking over. So you go anywhere in the different sectors of the economy, you see the same people that are problems in the economy, they are also owning those properties and all those companies. So we have that kind.
Yeah, it looks like Mr. Mutasa's phone keep reconnecting. It's reconnecting right now. Let's see if he comes back. I think I will just throw in one or two questions and then ask him to round up. That is if he now he is gone. While we're waiting for him to connect, okay, there he is. He has come back. I'm seeing Mr. Promise Mkwananzi is now with us. We'll come to you. And Honorable Muta, we are seeing you. If you also want to say something, please just request the mic, and we thank you for always being part of our Change Radio. Mr. Mutasa, if you can just round up, because we keep losing you, and then I have one question for you after that.
Saying that we need to organize differently. I think that's what I can end up going. Okay. Organize differently. From 2017 to now, I think most of our organizations, whether it's trade unions, civil society, have been compromised. So Mnangagwa's government is doing is to buy what they believe everyone has got a price tag. If they bring you a 4x4 Raptor, if they bring you a GTC, I think everyone is falling for that. So if you go in the labor movement, or labor leaders in this country for the first time since 1980, they've been gifted with the Range Rovers Discover of the Range vehicles. They now travel business class. They are almost next when they're traveling. They are allowances. So those people cannot see or hear or not any info. They can no longer.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Mutasa, I think we keep losing you again.
Continue to represent.
Nova will probably be actually closer to like 40, 50 minutes.
He's reconnecting again. I think this time we are just finalizing with him, and then we move on to other speakers. Okay, there is a question that I wanted to ask him. I will just go ahead to our next speaker, who is Mr. Promise Mkwananzi, and I'll pose the question that I wanted to ask Peter, Mr. Mtasa, because I know you are more than capable of taking that question, Mr. Mkwananzi. So, Mr. Mkwananzi, yes, he's here as one of us, as one of our champions. But the real reason why we brought him is because of his background in the student activism. Most people might not know, but he is actually a former ZINASU president who, of course, like many other leaders from ZINASU, later joined the MDC and became the youth SG. And I know this is what you know of Mr. Mkwananzi, that he was a leader with Tajamuka, and I'm always joking with him, saying I like the Promise Tajamuka than the Promise CC spokesperson. I hope in his presentation you'll be able to tell us why he has stopped being Promise Tajamuka and choose the path that we are now following. So the question that I wanted to pose to Mr. Mtasa, as you make your presentation, Mr. Mkwananzi, you can also try to address that, because that's the purpose of this space, to provide solutions. In the face of everything that Mr. Mtasa was saying, that we ought to do things differently, he also agreed in his presentation that labor has been captured. He didn't say in particular ZCTU, but we all know that ZCTU has been captured. There's nothing that is coming from ZCTU, no resistance whatsoever to current issues. We are also seeing our civic society has been quietened because of the bills that ZANU-PF has pushed through. But most sadly, and this is something that you can also address because you are part of that setup, most sadly, our political institutions have been taken over or completely dismantled by ZANU-PF. So in the face of what we are seeing now, what we are having now, Mr. Mkwananzi, what would you suggest we do? Where do we go from here? Right now, as we are speaking, ZANU-PF is threatening to bastardize our constitution, change the constitution, and illegally install Mr. Mnangagwa into a third term. And labor is quiet. The students are quiet. Forgive me if they are here because we're not seeing much. And civic society is also quiet. Political parties are very quiet. And yet, the constitution of a country is about to be changed. Why are we quiet? What can we do? Over to you, Mr. Mkwananzi.
Thank you very much, Chief. I hope you can hear me. I've got a bad throat, but I'll do my best to try and answer your question, but also just join the debate. You know, it's very difficult to debate after highly experienced, in-depth speakers that have spoken before me. I listened to Honorable Hlachwayo, my sister Barbara, and President Mutasa. And I continue to be inspired to learn that there are still cadres who still carry the values and the beliefs of what was constructed in the 1980s leading up to 1999, climaxing into the formation of the MDC as it then was. And it is inspiring to see that there are still leaders and individuals and activists who still hold firm the belief that we are on the right side of history. And no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, we have to stand forth and continue to execute and prosecute that which we started and that which so many of our cadres sacrificed so much for, including life itself. We've had cadres who have been killed, who have been maimed. Some of them were killed like flies, Wanatondera Injira and others. And this must remain a reminder to all our comrades across the length and breadth of our democratic movement that no matter what we do, we cannot afford to let down those comrades who trusted this movement with their lives. And this is important. This is very important. I listened to Sister Gladys speaking about corruption and the enticement of opposition activists by ZANU-PF. And my word to those people is that this is short-lived. What does it gain you to get a few pieces of silver and a few pieces of gold against the lives and the sacrifices of your colleagues? I thought I should start at that emotional note because these are issues that give me sleepless nights. Activists in Zimbabwe. And when I look at the picture which Chief Sosway are pointing, the bleak and gloomy circumstances that we find ourselves in, surely I cannot be able to sleep peacefully without finding an answer to say, how do we regroup and ensure that we do not betray all our comrades that I have spoken about? And at the center of this question is the question of changed circumstances in our operating environment. Institutions have been dismantled, circumstances have changed, the economy has been informalized, the opposition has been almost decimated, parliament has been delegitimized, the judiciary has been captured, and a single family is attempting to take over the reins of this country and determine the fate and future of this country for many years to come. So what is at stake is not a small issue. It's a, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, excellent. You can go ahead. Okay, so what is at stake is not a small issue. It's not an issue to say, I want to be a member of parliament, I want to be a councillor, I want to be a spokesperson of the party. That is not the issue now. The issue is to say, how do we collectively come together as pro-democratic movement, including, by the way, those that are in ZANU who may have belatedly realized that what they're doing is wrong. And I know that this is a contentious point because many will say, we can't do that. But if you read the theory of political change and understand it for those who have done so, you will know that in order to take down an authoritarian regime, you need an internal implosion within the regime itself. And getting some of the elements from it doesn't necessarily mean that they're now saints. Neither are we saints anyway. But it's a convenient alliance or partnership to dismantle the greater enemy. And the greater enemy is, in my view, one who is about to annihilate the constitution of the country and create a fiefdom for himself, his family, and his close allies. In fact, I would hazard to say that if we do not act, the foundation for that hegemony is already in place. The changing of the constitution is now a mere formalization. And that is how serious and how urgent the problems we are facing are. Now, there is also a debate about the institutions. I know my sister Gladys likes, since she's an institutionalist, so to speak, she likes institutions to say institutions. But if you look at what has happened, actually it is the institutions that have been captured by the regime. They've captured over years, gradually they've captured institutions. From the time when we were MDC and civil society, they were capturing key institutions infiltrating and co-opting key institutions or institutional leaders within them only. And at some point, I think we needed a disruptive approach in terms of dealing with what we're facing. And I think these disruptive approaches begin with the emergence of this flag, Tajamuka, people power, and these are the pockets of resistance that were emerging, albeit in an elusive and lucid, formation or form. And for me, personally, I saw a lot of opportunity in those kind of movements, more than standing institutions that we had here before the emergence of these groupings. And I think that as we moved into the elections of 2023, the CCC adopted a very smart strategy. And it's a strategy that someday someone may live to tell the story, but people don't understand that when we went into that election, and one of the things that infuriated ZANU so much about President Chamisa is the strategy that the CCC used. But ZANU was not only just not used to, but also were not able or could not figure out how to infiltrate effectively. This is before elections. We'll come to the post-election period. And that was what we called at the time Mkwazo. I can now say it because the elections are over, the strategy was used.
I'm so sorry, Comrade Nkwananzi. Can I quickly have a confirmation from Mambo Sose that you gave us 2 hours for the presentation? We are left with 9 minutes, and I see Honorable Daniel Molotile is with us. Are you going to give us another maybe 10 or so minutes to give our speakers some chance to speak, or you are still going to make sure that we are going to be finishing at the top of the hour, Mambo Sose?
No, we can go to 9:30. We only have another program that is going on, something that has to do with Blessed Mhlanga, but it's not on Twitter. It's on Zoom. Although we're supposed to broadcast it live, but we can add 30 more minutes so that we accommodate all our speakers and get questions and also allow people to come in. So you can go ahead, Danford.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I just I didn't want to make sure that I will get into your time, and also considering that we have had some of our listeners who would have wanted to participate and we did not give them a chance, and that will be decent to them, that we will end our program without them having spoken, especially considering that we have had Mudaraji having been with us for quite some time. But leadership, Kwananzi, you can go ahead and then we'll go to Mudaraji for what he wants to say. Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to be short now that there's this time issue. But in short, I was saying that the strategy which was used under CCC, there's many who say there were no structures, whatever. Those who know the truth know that there was just a different structure. And the structure was suited the changed environment that we're talking about. As a good example, the question is, how do we reach out with limited resources? So we create a structure at the local level so that the leader in that locality does not have to get bus fare to go and talk to stakeholders, door-to-door campaigns, household to household, village to village. You understand? And that worked. It worked because even going by Mnangago's official results, the party performed fairly well. We were able to stop Mnangagwa from 2/3. President Chamisa scored so much going by Mnangagwa's votes, not to even talk about what we believe were the actual results. So it worked. What then happened after elections is another issue. The reason why I'm stressing this point from Tajamuka to the Triple C and to where we are today is because whether we like it or not, the institutions have been either destroyed, delegitimized, or invalidated. From civil society to political parties, there are no longer any institutions. And what it has taught me, and I want to speak on my own behalf, is that actually institutions can be captured. But you know what can't be captured? What cannot be captured are the day-to-day issues of the people and the movement that you can create around the issues that are pertinent to the generality of the citizens of the country. If you're able to capture those issues and articulate and package them and deliver them effectively to the masses of our people, without an institution, because the institution, for me, it's almost a fallacy. Because institutions, they are good for administration and accountability and so on and so forth. But in terms of driving a mass movement, and if you go back to look at successful mass movements, even in history, most of them, they were really, loosely knitted together. They were not an intact organization where you see 6 pillars, which are the institutions, and you could just go and hit this one, and the organization is there. But if it's a shadowish, guerrilla-like style, it becomes very difficult for the regime. More so because we have no dispute as to who our leaders are. The people know who their leaders are. They know their leaders in their various capacities. They know who can do. And all that is needed is to harness the forces while at the same time being able to operate at the locality. Because the change of the context means that we no longer have the luxury and the resources which we had in 1999. The international community has other priorities. Unfortunately, we failed to use the resources they gave us at the time to develop self-sufficiency. We have no resources, and not least to fund, huge institutions and big meetings to discuss this. There is no discussion. The issues that people must confront are well documented over the years, and people are aware what needs to be confronted. The 2030 attempt by Mnangagwa is an opportunity, paradoxically. It's a golden opportunity to converge all progressive forces and just say from wherever they are in their locality, wherever in diaspora, wherever you are, augmented obviously by the advent of social media. I think that an opportunity exists to prosecute and execute our struggle in an unconventional and untraditional manner, which the regime has been used for over the years. And this is a point of debate. I'm not attacking anyone, but I'm making an intellectual reflection, a political strategy reflection to say, how best can we move from here going forward in the context of limited resources, dwindling resources, in the context of increased suppression by the regime. The only way that we can deal with the regime at that level is to conduct pockets of resistance in various parts of the country so that we stretch the regime suppressive apparatus. If you just come and gather in Harare and Bulawayo, you're just a party to the regime. They will throw a party over you because you're a good there and it's very easy to disrupt you. But if you have this clustered approach where in Mvurwi, in Zimba, wherever people are organizing at the local level, the regime cannot send those tankers to all those places. They don't have the resources. They've got very few tanks. All that bravado, if challenged properly, this regime can be exposed. I think I'll stop here because of time, but I thought I should raise this point of debate to comrades and also share my thoughts. Frankly, and because part of has killed our struggle is diplomacy and wanting to be liked or to not offend people with your views and so on. But I think a time has come where we must now be frank and forthright about what we think and how best we can penetrate and ensure that we finish that which we started. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, leadership. And it's always a pleasure to have you come to us. I'm so much privileged to converse with you. I'm so much privileged to converse with the Honorable Gladys Kuzainashe Hlachwayo. I'm also privileged to have a conversation with the Honorable Fortunate Daniel Molokele, and also our speakers that have spoken, Dr. Gifty Mutasa that was with us here. But quickly before I leave this conversation, and we still have another 30 minutes to go. We are going to be having two more speakers in non-invited guests here. We are being hosted by Change Radio, and I'm asking questions to you, leadership, Promising Finance, leadership, Gladys Kuzainashe Hlachwayo, as our representative in Triple C, as Denford, an independent citizen who would want to hear from you. And I think my question could also resonate with a number of Zimbabweans on the ground who might not know the direction under which the progressive democratic institutions in Zimbabwe, in form of the Triple C, in you guys, Promising Kwanazi and Gladys Kuzainashe Hlachwayo. Our honorable has spoken about online and on the ground activism. And just recently we have had a situation in which we had the 31st movement through the activism from the war veteran Blessed Geza, who had so much of attraction from the broader Zimbabwean society and in the international community. I mean, international people from Zimbabweans from across the world who actually rallied behind him. We did not hear from you. Maybe I missed your input in as far as what Geza was intended to do. Also, what had to happen. What is it that the democratic opposition in Zimbabwe had to say in as far as what Geza brought about? Because I thought that was an opportunity for Zimbabweans to say we want to do away with the EDC 2030 mantra. I didn't hear from you, leadership Mkwananzi. I didn't hear from you, leadership Hlachwayo. If you said something, I think I missed it. It is Denford asking, not Change Radio asking. I would want to hear from you. But before you respond to me, I would want to give this opportunity. Just 2 minutes from Daraji and 2 minutes from Nyama, and then we'll hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Denford. Thank you very much, Change Radio. I guess not to find a quick accelerator. We are not going to speak about the past. We need the present. What shall we do? What do we do? Zimbabweans are very selfish. I'll tell you a little bit of history. Zinaso yakanga iri privy only to the University of Zimbabwe. Constitution said that. We had to change constitution to allow other people. So I'm not Razana Atham Tambara. Their crime was a minute crime. It's only that they had brushes with the police in the eyes of journalists and others, and then they became popular. I took over from Enoch Chikwechekano to Mnyaradzi Gwisai. I became the Secretary General. The first thing that we did, also Zibusiso Stole, also from Bulawayo, took over from Atham Tambara. And then we changed the constitution to allow everyone. You see, it takes everybody to make a whole number. You said it was not going to be Zinaso on its own. We then embraced every college around the country and we looked at their needs and we came together. That's why we then introduced the tertiary games. Not all these other people that came around. No, it was myself and a few. If you want to know, my real name is Peter Ganya. You can Google me. I was also the vice president of Mayfair Mining and Minerals, a company registered on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. That aside, what we did was people power, students power. Students, we made students fight as a whole. What we need to break this military state, there's no one who can argue that this is not a military state. This is ruled by the army. How do we do it? Blessed Geza is bringing us snippets of what needs to be done. There is no state without an economy. Those are failed economy, states, because of the economy, and Blessed Geza is producing or bringing in such things. But do we have the whole world or the whole Zimbabwe knowing that? They don't know. And what ZANU-PF did, ZANU-PF, my ex-combatants vakastada kuChina, vakastada kuYugoslavia, vakastada kuRussia, vakastada kuNorth Korea, kuChina. Mao Zedong airizoneta the poor. Vana Mugabe vakatimpovarisha, vese nananingi vakatimpovarisha. Every time tine tichipeka. Asi vanhu now hatisisina kuita sezvakanga zvakaitwa ma-Socialist Republic of China. Vanhu here, we now have technology that has moved so we can reach our people. What we need, if we are going to form a citizens movement, we need to disseminate information kumaruzeva, kumarua, kuma growth point. Because ZANU-PF did some simple thing. When they wanted to break apart ZCTU, like Dr. Peter Mutasa said, they broke up the social fabric of workers. And that was break up formal sector and create informal sector. There are no workers. I was attending a May Day, Dr. Peter Mutasa, myself, Ostalos and Shibaya. We went, we realized there were no workers. There are no workers. It will take us a long time to formalize the economy. Maybe after 2030, if 2030 goes ahead. But I think that's a long time for Zimbabwe. What do we need to do to break up the military state? We need to involve citizens. Yeah. But citizens should have information. They should be powered by information. Without information, they don't know what's happening. They don't know kuna chivara. They only hear chivara to donate, and they actually appreciate the donation. Yeah. Right now, I was actually surprised, shocked to the core when I heard the Bulawayo City Council is about, or it is romped in better brands. The kingpin in gold mafia could pay the construction near Gotini. That is exercising.
It looks like the space just ended abruptly. I'm not sure what happened, but please do stick with us and let's see if the space will come back on and we can continue on the space. But in the meantime, here is a video I just found on Twitter by the youth leader Bruce Moyo, and it is captioned, "Today in a constituency youth interface, leader Commander Bruce Moyo commended the Harare youths arrested on June 16, stating their courageous fight for change deserves celebration. He hailed them as heroes of their generation." I shall just play this for you whilst we wait for the space to come back on, because clearly the space was not done. There was probably a technical issue or something. We apologize for that. Please bear with us.
That's not a normal country. So they celebrate why? Because we need to celebrate my comrades of our own generation. No, it's not my heroes of our own generation. But that's kind of sacrifice their lives, months, money in prison. But that's what you fight with the Zimbabwe, what you fight with the employment vehicle, what you fight with the hospitals, what you fight with the yet comes away. We celebrate and come at Jason. The team will all say they were 79, but that's now 15 who fought for Zimbabwe. They are part of our history, they are part of our leaders, they are part of our generation. Vakafighta vakamira na president Amisa hawana kubuda vakatiza. Tine vakawanda vakasungwa after vareleaswa vakatojoina ZANU-PF vakatiza. Vachiri pano vachiri kufighta the same tyranny, the same regime, the same ZANU-PF, the same police vachitaura kuti toda kusunungura polisi yacho nekuti yakasungwa. Kana uri polisi uchitambira $20 United States muchipiwa bhutu dzakavharwa. In a state uchishandiswa kuti wanosunga vakomana vanoda kusunungura. That's not a normal country. So toda kucelebrate totenda zvikuru vasikana nevakomana for standing brave for our country. Kufighta kana kuperi nhasi. You might think that you fought in vain, but the result is coming. And the result yauya, the history has to record. Kutainana Jason nemasisters edu vakapinda mutorongo vasina kupara mosha vachifighta for a new Zimbabwe. It must be a message to us all. Patinoenda. Let's not fear anything. Nekuti takafa kare. Vakapinda mutorongo vasina kupara mosha. Zvasara ndokoshinga. Pamakashika teve tunavo kuzokunda. So message yadina ndokushinge. Let's have courage. Let's fight. Let's fight until victory. Ndofunga ribere mazuva. Tisasangana zvekare takucelebrate. Vanagogo vedu vakugara kudzimba zvakanaka. Vachiti vazukuru vedu vakarwa hondo yemazviro kwazvo. Nhasi takuti ma-war veterans. So this is part of our generation. Toda kuvaombera maoko. President Chamisa oye. So tinotenda takiwe kuzopasai muno isusu tinokhuluma. But animanza kuti shona cho takutopinda chipinda heavy gear. Zvikaza kuti no direction yatikaita senyika. Why? We don't look for tribes. We are one people. President Chamisa wedu vanotaura kuti we are one people, we are a God fearing country. Ichigara pasi musiki wedu aiye Mwari ndiye anotiprotect. That's why kana chitaura tikafiye. We fear Foko. Why? Because that the protection isiri kubva kumaporisa, iri kubva kuna Mwari. So totaura kuti courage. Nekuti vatina Mwari ari musoro kukudenga akatarisa nhamo dzedu ari kushura kuti dai tasunungura nyika tiri pano kuzotora gatasi seve chidiki kuti tisunungura nyika. So
control doing, sending a South American
that
terrorist
was,
that was arrested the Americans increased to some.
Why? Because we need to celebrate my comrades of our own generation.
That was Champion Bruce Moyo, the leader of the Youth League. He was in Harare. That was today, mobilizing. We are still waiting for our space to come back up. We apologize for the technical glitch that occurred. Our space suddenly dropped, but we will be bringing it back up soon. Please bear with us. Don't leave. We have still some very powerful submissions. I'm sure you've heard from those who have spoken, from Honorable Gladys Latswayo, Peter Gift Mutasa, Barbara Gwangwala, Promise Mukwananzi, answering some very pertinent questions that I think we've all had since the last elections. So please don't go away. Our space will come back online soon, and you can hear the submissions from the rest of the speakers who had not yet given their submissions. Let me see if I can find something else that we can listen to whilst we watch. Whilst we wait. And okay, this is a video from the parliament in the UK, talking about, I'm sure, Blessed Mhlanga. The caption on the video goes, the real reason why Blessed Mhlanga was ordered by the idiots to be released from jail to avoid Her Highness Auxilia Mnangagwa's embarrassment during her upcoming trip to the UK. Auxilia Mnangagwa was scheduled to travel to the UK, apparently with other first ladies, and there were plans to confront her about the illegal and unconstitutional incarceration of journalist Blessed Mhlanga, and to embarrass her. So let's just listen to what transpired in the UK Parliament that probably led to the release of Blessed Mhlanga.
Having the temerity to in my teenage years, I grew up literally on Fleet Street, where my father was the rector of the Journalists' Church St Bride's, in the days when the newspapers still clustered around the street. I learned a lot during that time about the courage of journalists in bringing us news from around the world and in holding the powerful to account. At the Journalists' Altar in St Bride's, those who have given their lives reporting the news continue to be remembered every day. Today, journalists are under greater threat around the world than ever. In Sudan, at least 7 have been killed since the war broke out, and many have been detained. In Gaza, as Baroness Mubarak and others told us, over 176 journalists and media workers have been killed. In Zimbabwe, a country close to my heart, media freedom has been under siege for decades now. Journalists are regularly intimidated, detained, and on occasion murdered. Printing presses have been blown up, and public dissent is silenced. Journalist Blessed Mhlanga has, as we speak, been detained for 59 days, denied his constitutional right to bail. His crime, having the temerity to conduct an interview with a former war veteran who opposes President Mnangagwa's desire to extend his term in office, and who has highlighted the criminal corruption of the regime and the president's family. I note that the president's wife is due to speak at a summit in London in June, and I hope that members of our parliament who are choosing to take part will challenge Zimbabwe's First Lady on the continued detention of Blessed Mhlanga and the overall brutality of the regime that she represents. And I hope that the government will continue to make clear that there will be no resumption of normal relationships with Zimbabwe while the ZANU-PF regime continues to detain journalists, deny media freedom, and defy democratic norms. As Baroness Mubarak said in her excellent speech, there must be consequences for such actions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your patience, our viewers and listeners. That was an extract from the UK Parliament where they were talking about the incarceration of Blessed Mhlanga and the UK visit of Auxilia Mnangagwa. Chief just joined us in the studio. Chief, would you like to talk to our viewers and listeners whilst we wait for others to come and join us?
Okay. Thank you. I don't know where you were because we got disrupted on Twitter on and then our guest going to come back. Because,
Please do
we had-
send the link to all the ones whose contacts you have. I've sent the link to those whose contacts I have. Champion Denford is just joining us here. And I sent to Champion Denford, to Champion Barbara, and to Champion Kwananzi, I have his contact. But the others, I think I don't have. I'm not sure about Ganya. Maybe I do have his contact.
Okay, let me send to Honorable Malokele and Gladys.
Honorable Flashwire.
Mhm.
Okay, let me send to. I think I do have Mr. Ganya's. Let me see.
Well, so yeah, that's what happened. We got cut off on Twitter, so we are now here. At once operated was ready to change radio. We want to finish our program and go on to the other program.
Sorry, Chief. Unfortunately, I don't have Mr. Ganya's number saved in my phone. So if you could forward the link to Mr. Ganya as well. Champion Denford, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you, Champion Estella.
Okay. All right. Would you like to maybe keep our viewers engaged whilst we wait for others to come in?
Yes, I can go ahead with keeping our viewers, our listeners, and our compatriots into a picture to what has been happening on our X program that we had. But this could be my second time or first time in the StreamYard, and I might actually ruin the program that was in progress. And I think maybe let us give seasoned members into this program to take charge of the program. I might not have problems in getting in here and there.
Okay. Actually, this is a continuation of the same program that you were hosting on the space. I was broadcasting it to other platforms. And so when it dropped on X, it continued here. So all the listeners are up to date with where you were when you dropped. So you could full well just carry on from where you left off.
Okay, I thank you very much. And once again, we are reconnected with you, Chief. Thank you very much for letting us get through with our programs on this platform. And it's always a pleasure to make sure that we highlight issues, especially of pertinent concern to Zimbabwe. We always would want to engage with people from different platforms in Zimbabwe. This helps us to really engage, really get to the grassroots of the people in Zimbabwe. And the objective of us getting together like this is in order for us to make sure that we conscientize our people. And Change Radio, I would want to give so much of credit to you, Chief, to give so much of credit to Dr. Ranga, to give credit to you, Champion Estella, to give credit to Champion Leo, as well as Champion Barbara, and the rest of the Change Radio crew. We have seen that the void that has been left by a number of independent radio programs in Zimbabwe, Change Radio is actually filled in the void that was left, and it brings so much of confidence to Zimbabweans. So concerning to the program that we were having, and I think I'm not too sure because I left the program. I think it's about 10 or so minutes ago. Maybe some of the issues that I had raised were highlighted or were addressed. I might not be sure, but I had asked the questions to both Champion Promise Nkwalanzi and Honorable Gladys Hlachwayo. I'm not too sure if they were addressed. And like I also highlighted that this was Danford's personal views and personal questions, which could not be critiqued to some of the official platforms that we have here. If we are allowed to ask our personal questions. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Champion Danford. Let's hope our guests will join us soon, and then they can give their answers to your very, very pertinent questions. What are your personal views on the current situation relative to people power, civil society, student movements, labor? What can be done and what should be done?
Okay, I think I am going to be giving my response in respect to, or contextually. We need really to understand that we have got a history, and we have got a long way that we traveled. Chief can actually attest to what I am saying, and we follow the footsteps of the likes of Mambo Sose. We follow the footsteps of the number of people that we have in these programs, and this gives us so much of inspiration. When I started the program on X, I think I highlighted issues to do with the speeches that were given, I think around 2019 to 2021, where Comrade Gift Mtasa was actually highlighting why he thought that Zimbabwe has been a failed state. And he gave a number of examples wherein people in the civil society, people in the civil service, ordinary people on the ground could not really do what they are supposed to do. Why? Because of what the state or the government of Zimbabwe has crippled what is supposed to be given to the people. And when we also give the context of what we used to have in comparison to what we are having and what is likely going to be happening in Zimbabwe, it's a very high likelihood that we are actually transiting to a situation in which Zimbabweans have lost hope in what the leadership or those that are championing a democratic change in Zimbabwe is entailing us to go to. And that is the main reason why I actually questioned myself to the leadership. And when I'm quizzing or when I'm asking questions, it's not because I'm not being I'm being so insubordinate, but it's actually a right to say you guys are going about to say we want a change in Zimbabwe, but we have got situations in which we have got the private voluntary organization bill. It's now an act that has been enacted, and E.D. Mnangagwa has actually signed it, meaning to say civil society activism in Zimbabwe has actually been curtailed, meaning to say we are not going to be having an independent civil society in Zimbabwe. We have actually seen that. I've also gone through an interview where Chief Soswe was interviewing Comrade Peter Mutasa, where he actually asked him why he thought, what he thinks about the recent or the last elective conference in as far as ZCTU is concerned. As much as he wanted to shield, not really shielding, but he wanted to be a bit diplomatic to say that he did not want to publicly highlight that we have got a number of our comrades who have been captured by ZANU-PF. But the public itself can really see that the ZCTU is under the armpit of ZANU-PF. The leadership is under the armpit of the ED. And it's unfortunate that this is what is going to be happening, especially with the dollar power that is being used in Zimbabwe. We still have a long way to go. And unfortunately, we need to actually up our game in order for things to come right in Zimbabwe. We have a long way to go. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Very, very powerful submissions there. Chief, would you like to come in?
Yeah, and as we round up, because we have another program that is happening now on Zoom, where we are supposed to be speaking to Dara, Blessed Mhlanga. I know that program is starting right now, and we had said we are going to be here until 2:30 or 9:30, having extended by 30 minutes. But my closing remarks would be taking from what all the presenters were saying, Mr. Mukwananzi, Mr. Mutasa, Dara G, and also Honorable Gladys Shachwayo. Everyone was in agreement that we need to do things differently, and we also need to take opportunities. Like Promise Mkwananzi was saying, that there are opportunities that are brought up by certain situations. And I think Mr. Mutasa did speak to that as well. That as Zimbabweans, we have had several opportunities for us to do what we needed to do to advance our agenda. But sometimes we have not done that. And sometimes it's because, as I'm always saying, we give ZANU-PF too much credit. We think that it is a trap, or it is an internal fight, or it's a bait. The ZANU-PF can never do that. This is something that we can't get involved in. But at that point, ZANU-PF will be at its weakest. At that point, ZANU-PF will be on its knees. And as citizens, we fail to take advantage of the situation. Right now, I think, this is my personal opinion, I think some individuals and even organizations are taking advantage of the situation that is there, especially if it is the Gaza situation, that it is a ZANU-PF internal fight, and therefore they should fold their arms while the ZANU-PF is trying to manipulate the constitution. I don't think that is right. I think people are just taking advantage. They don't know what to do, and they don't know how they should do what they want to do if they have anything that they want to do. Because how do you fold your arms and not do anything when someone is about to change the constitution? And when the constitution is changed, it even makes our struggles, much more difficult than they were before. How do we choose to keep quiet? How do we choose not to say anything? I think not saying anything, to me, it's tantamount to saying, Emmerson Mnangagwa, you can have a through pass, you can have your 23rd agenda. That's how I see it. I'm sorry if I offend some people, but I don't believe in not doing anything when someone is about to butcher the constitution. They've said it time and again. And Promise also said it in his presentation that it's now only a question of time before this issue is brought to Parliament and it becomes a law. That will always be used by ZANU-PF, and that Emmerson Mnangagwa will continue to use even after 2030. I don't believe it's going to be just 2 years. It will be more. He is going to suspend elections for the longest time. And we are here saying this is a ZANU-PF internal fight. We don't want to get involved. I don't understand. I really don't understand. And these are some of the issues that I wanted our honorable members of parliament to have addressed while we are here. But unfortunately, we got cut off and some of them cannot come back here. But Zimbabweans, this is our issue. And if we don't do something about the prevailing circumstances, we are all going to live to regret. Because if Mnangagwa goes ahead and does what he wants, I'm telling you, he's going to come out very embalmed, very solidified. He will be stronger than before, and it will even be more difficult to challenge him. Who is going to challenge him if there's no one challenging him right now? So let's come together. Let's do what we have to do and defend our constitution. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, powerful submission there, Chief. And I must admit that to a degree, I agree with everything that you're saying, that we cannot simply fold our hands and watch as our constitution is torn apart. But some might ask, they might question the wisdom of playing along with a situation that is a repeat of a mistake that everyone admits that was a mistake which was made the last time. Chief, I see you're shaking your head. Please, just hear me out. Just hear me out. We've been here before. We've had soldiers encouraging people to flood the streets, and people did. Then, when they got what they wanted, they dumped the people, and the persecution and the oppression of the ordinary citizen continued. So there are many who, much as they are averted to the idea of doing nothing as our constitution is butchered, they also realize that the alternative that is on offer isn't that much better than what is on the other hand. What do you think the leadership, I would say mainly in the opposition, can do? What can the leadership in opposition do to present a third option that at least offers hope to the citizen that, oh yes, if I do go along with this, it looks like there's a good chance things can change. I might add, I'm one of those people who find it difficult to make a move knowing that I'm jumping out of one frying pan into another.
Okay.
Why can't we strategize and sit down and think? Let us come up with a solution that actually solves at least part of the problem, and not just to feel good that we are doing something that doesn't necessarily produce the results that we're looking for. I'm eager to hear, as you are one of the leadership in opposition, Chief. Sorry for putting you on the spotlight there. Or even
No. That's fine. I will respond in my own personal capacity, and then I'm supposed to leave. So
Yes, thank
this is not the same, and the idea that this is 2017 2.0, I don't think it is right. If we know who we are, if we realize how much power we have as citizens, the fact of the matter is we undermine the power that we have. And this is something that I said last week, and my sister Maigwaze didn't understand what I was saying. I hope she's out there listening. And I want to repeat myself that we as citizens are undermining the power that we have. And I agree with you. We should not make the same mistake twice. We should not make the same, and we are not going to make that same mistake twice. We are guilty, as I've said again before, of giving ZANU-PF too much credit. We think they are an all-powerful institution. They cannot be conquered. They are not weak. It's just a ploy. That's where we are right now. When I continually say we should be taking part in this, I am saying that cognizant of the fact that citizens have the power. Geza right now cannot do anything. He is failing to do much because the citizens are not part of this. So why are citizens not taking over this so-called Geza revolution? Because we are giving too much credit again to a ZANU-PF remnant who is a Geza. We are thinking that he is more powerful than us. We are more powerful than him. There is no reason why we can't dictate terms together. This is what I was saying last time, that we shouldn't be asking or waiting for Geza to tell us what to do. We should be telling him what we want. We should go to him and tell him, this is what should happen. This is what we want. We don't want this nonsense. We are not going to take this nonsense. After this, after we march in the streets, this is what must be happen. We want a transitional authority, if that is what we want. We want fresh, free, and fair and credible elections. This is what we want. We put everything on the table. That is what organized citizens would do. You know, we should be doing that. There's no reason right now why we should not be doing that. So it is indeed an opportunity that we're not taking advantage of, because we are not just recognizing and appreciating the power that we have. The examples are there. The Sudanese did it. They marched with the soldiers. They planned with the soldiers. And the soldiers said, we are here. We are now installing this government. These are the people that are going to lead you. And the Sudanese people, led by the women, said, nonsense. We are having none of that. We are not leaving the streets. The struggle continues. You know, Zimbabweans are looking for a straightforward revolution. Revolutions are never straightforward. Zimbabweans are looking for liberators. Liberators are not there. Liberators do not exist. President Chamisa is not a liberator. Geza is not a liberator. Anyone else you can think of is not a liberator. The people liberate themselves. We must liberate ourselves. We must get in those streets. We must protest. We must get angry. Use what Geza is giving us. Make the people angry. Make everyone else angry. Get in the streets in our terms, not on the terms of Geza. If you understand what I mean, Estela, this is what I mean. That we just need to organize ourselves. Opposition leaders, like you're saying, they need to be on top of the game and start organizing people. But again, citizens have been at the center of saying they don't want some kind of leadership. People like Chief Shoshe and others were told we are gatekeepers, which means citizens wanted to organize themselves, wanted an opportunity to organize themselves. No offense, but the opportunity has presented itself. Why are we as citizens not coming up with citizen committees that will organize people in North America, so that we are having protests in North America, we are having protests in support of what others who in Zimbabwe will be doing in the United Kingdom, in South Africa, committees that will be talking right now, or even engaging people like Comrade Geza and giving them the demands of the citizens. We should be doing that, because that's what we have always said. We have always said citizens can govern themselves, they can manage themselves, and they can free themselves. They can do the revolution themselves, and that's how it is supposed to be. We don't need anyone. We can do it ourselves. We just don't realize the amount of power that we have. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Chief. I think, this topic really needs, when we have quite enough time, to have its own program, because it's a very pertinent issue that needs to be thoroughly analyzed and broken down, and solutions, presented. I don't know if Champion Danford wanted to weigh in.
Yeah. Just before, I've sent you the Zoom link to Blessed Mshanga's program. Those who are here that want to join, please, Champion Estella, if you can pin it somewhere, or if you can send it to some of our platforms so that people can join, and we get in solidarity with Blessed Darabi.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. I'm going to post the link in comments on YouTube and Facebook. It will appear in comments, but on X, it will not. So I will also, put it on a banner here on the screen. So those on X, you can try and get it from the screen. Take a screenshot, maybe. But as I'm doing that, Champion Denford, did you want to weigh in on this one before we close up and move to Blessed Geza's program?
No, I haven't got much to say, but I think if I weigh in on this, I'm going to be diluting what Mambo Soswe has highlighted. But one thing that I would want to say is we have been so lenient to each other for quite a long period of time. Amongst ourselves, with those who are against us, we have always been speaking lies to each other. I think it is high time that we need to be candid. We need to be truthful. We need to be frank. We need to actually point to call a spade, and that can only make us a purified people. If today, Champion Estella, you come to me and say change is inevitable, and tomorrow we are going to be having change, and then tomorrow the change that you actually proclaimed is going to be on the side of Mnangagwa, and then I need to come to you and say, you gave me a ray of hope. Is it me who brought about this thing that came to actually ended up being upside down? So when we quiz or when we bring about critical and radical questions to the people that are saying they are pro-democracy people agents, it's not because we are being undemocratic or we are actually revolting against the revolution. No, it's because we have got the history. It's because we know what has happened before. We want something different. And if people come with one issue that did not work last year, which did not work before, then like I always say, that we are on a platform that is being hosted and that is being highlighted by a reputable radio station. But as an individual, as a citizen, as a Zimbabwean, I think I also have got a right within your platforms to highlight my issues. And those issues that I'm highlighting could not be proclaimed to be the voice of either Change Radio or any other conduit through which we are highlighting our issues. But it is an individual who is saying, as a citizen, that sometimes it's good to be so candid. Sometimes it's good to be a bit radical and say, we have tried this and we need also to work on this, so that the regime that we are working with is somehow insensitive and somehow doesn't care about the wills of the citizens. And what can we do? We need to do something differently. I would want to end here. Thank you very much, Champion Esther.
Thank you so much, Champion Denford. Thank you for this very potent topic that you brought up, and thank you for arranging a powerful space. And it's very sad that it dropped and our guests could not follow us and join us again here. For those who would like to join Blessed Geza's Zoom, the details, they are on the screen. When you open Zoom, the meeting ID, you enter the meeting ID and the passcode, or the link is also in comments, so you can use either method to join that Zoom. Another thing, President Chamisa has launched a YouTube channel, and I'm just if you have time, Champion Denford, I'm just going to play a short clip where he is encouraging people to join him on his YouTube channel. to subscribe to his YouTube channel. So please do go and subscribe to President Chamisa's YouTube channel. I think there's a lot of information that is going to there is a lot of information that he's going to be publishing there, probably to do with whatever his plans for the future are. So if you are a pro-President Chamisa supporter, you would be best advised to subscribe to his new channel. So, Champion Denford, would you like to give your closing shots? Then I'll just play this short clip for about President Chamisa's YouTube channel, and you can. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I don't have anything much to say, but only to say thank you very much, Zimbabweans. Thank you very much, different social media platforms that you have joined us, from X to YouTube to WhatsApp to Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. We really appreciate your partnering with us, and I would want to say to you, please continue to like, subscribe, and follow Change Radio. Change Radio is one of the institutions that has made a big difference in as far as news dissemination in Zimbabwe and broadly across the world is concerned. We will always hear what we would want to hear. We will always hear independent news in Zimbabwe is concerned. We are not going to be hearing a propaganda from the ZANU-PF conduits, but it's important that we need to follow Change Radio. To those who are going to be following us on our different platforms, we are continuing to be having our programs on X program on Sundays on the same during the same time. Continue to come to converge with us for progressive discussions for Zimbabwe to come right. We know we still have a long way to go. We know the struggle continues, but we need to always come together and say, let's come together, hold our hands together in order for Zimbabwe to be taken from one level to another. Thank you very much, Champion Estela.
Thank you so much, Champion Denford. So you heard it, guys. If you would like to tune in to more similar progressive discussions, it's every Sunday at 7 o'clock right here on Change Radio. Be there or be square. Thank you all so much for joining us. And as Champion Denford encouraged, please do subscribe, like, and share with others as well, so that the information can filter through to everyone. And finally, I'm going to play President Chamiso's short clip, and I will also add a link to his channel, to his YouTube channel, in comments. So if you can immediately jump on there and subscribe, and then quickly run to Zoom to join Blessed Gesa's Zoom, that would be really awesome. And as we close off, let me wish you an absolutely blessed week ahead. Thank you once again for sticking with us until the end.
Thank you, guys. Thank you out there. This is Generational Consensus, a massive platform, a massive movement, an idea whose time has come. This is what you must all be part of, because it's a game changer. You are part of the story. Be the scripter, be the writer, be the player. I'm asking you to be part of this Generational Consensus, which is an idea to make sure that young people are claiming their stake in nation building, in building a future, in framing a way forward for our country. Yes, I'm part of it. This is not just about young people. It's also about older generations accepting and having a consensus that yes, the young people must now take over. This is about taking over. This is about the old generation handing over to us, the young ones, to complete the agenda of the liberation struggle in transformation, in liberation, but not only in liberation, in also modernizing our country, in democratizing our country. So yes, guys, let's be part of this great game. Thank you.
YouTube and you search for Generational Consensus Chamisa, you should be able to find it. Once again, let me just wish you an absolutely blessed week ahead. Hope to see you again next week, same time, 7 o'clock on Change Radio. Take care. Bye-bye.